Welcome back to Paranormal the New Normal. It's your favorite host, Jeremy Bryant, and this week's guest I am very excited to have from East Coast Paranormal and from the Get Haunted Network, Christina Westervelt.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And listeners, by the way, if I sound like shit, it's because I got COVID again. So, goddamn alien conspiracies, I swear to God. But anyway, Christina, why don't you tell our listeners about your work in the paranormal field?
So I have been with my team for about 2.5 years. We started off as another team and then we all broke off and formed East Coast Paranormal together. Um, I've been doing paranormal stuff since I was a little kid. I grew up watching Ghost Hunters with my dad, and we used to go to Salem, Massachusetts every year. And I'd bring my little old school K2 meter that you had to stick a coin in to get it to stay on. We would do like the little cemetery hunts and stuff out there. But actually, over quarantine, I decided to get my butt up and do it for real. The thought of staying up until 5 a.m. was absolutely horrifying. But I figured you only live once. So I started, with my team, East Coast Paranormal, and it's been awesome. I work for the Get Haunted. I work for Get Haunted. And if you haven't checked out the Get Haunted Network group page, definitely hop on there. My buddy Rob started the company and it's pretty awesome. We do public events, public investigations, but it's got a whole other concept to it. If you need merch made for your team, if you need a logo, if you need anything, if you post it on the Get Haunted Network page, you'll find someone that'll help you out, whether it's Rob himself. I know he's very busy recently, but it's about networking. It's about working together. It's about that whole mythological creature called para unity that people like to throw out there. But it's actually becoming a real thing, and it's becoming very obvious in the network, and it's kind of awesome seeing so many teams, so many people working together, helping each other out. Rob is one of the execs for the world's largest ghost hunt this year. So Get Haunted will be at the headquarters for the whole thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of world's largest ghost hunt, but it is one day every year. It's usually the last Saturday in September. People from all around the world get together virtually and they all investigate on the same day. So this is the first year that we're involved with this, but the past 2 years they've had people in Egypt, they've had people in Japan, they've had people all around, and it goes for a little over 24 hours, and they go from one team to another, and like I think every team gets a half an hour, 45 minutes of like broadcasting. It's really cool. And we actually brought in Daryl Marston and his producers from the new Dead Live that I'm actually helping out with as well. And they're going to be helping us out with the world's largest ghost hunt this year to make sure all the tech issues that we've been having will be going, well, they have had in the past, are going smoothly. So yet again, bunch of people. We got Dead Live that I'm working with, Daryl, everyone from Paranormal Warehouse. We're all coming together with Get Haunted, World's Largest Ghost Hunt, and we're going to make it better this year. So I got a lot going on. It's been crazy, but it's been good crazy. And we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, Paranormal Warehouse. I think I actually either had them coming on the show at some point or I tried to reach out to them to get them on the show. I forget which. I'm booked out till September at this point. So the amount of people I have coming on this show is I might have to start doing 2 episodes a week. Like that's just the amount of people I'm getting, which it's
nice. That's awesome.
It's phenomenal because I never even imagined when I started the show that I'd get that many people right away when I'm nobody yet. Like I'm not Derek Hayes, I'm not Seth Breedlove. But
who cares, man? It's all about supporting each other in the community. It's great just getting to meet people and make connections and stuff like that. That's why I love doing the podcast. I don't care how many people are on your page, like, hey, look, I made a new friend.
Well, actually, well, thanks to my listeners, we are now just over 100 listens so far on my podcast, which is a great thing considering I'm only a month and a half in, less than that even. So I think
Nice,
I
very
think
cool.
I think you're my seventh or eighth episode. I always forget my count, but so paraunity. I have not heard that phrase before. Does that just basically mean like the paranormal community is becoming like us
Yeah,
instead of trying to
it's
like fight against each other like they used to?
it's a very taboo term in the paranormal community because there's a lot of drama and stuff like that, and people throw the word parauni around, and a lot of people don't like it because it doesn't seem that there is a lot in the field. But like I said, we Get Haunted and everyone coming together and working together on this network page, um, it seems like more of a real possibility these days. Rob's done a fantastic job with Get Haunted. We've met so many people. We're working with so many people. He's made logos for, I don't know if you've heard of the Paranormally Blonde podcast I was on a little while ago. Those two ladies are absolutely awesome. He made their logo for them. Like everyone's just helping each other out, which is what it's supposed to be all about. We're all supposed to be lifting each other up and working together instead of people being, up at odds and in competition with people, which seems to be a very, common thing in the field, unfortunately. But yeah.
I mean, it's a very common thing in most fields. It's just
Yeah, it's what it is. And I love, listen, I'm and no matter what hobby, no matter where you are, there's always crazy people. But the paranormal seems to attract a certain kind of
oh god, oh trust me, I know. I mean, when I first was in the process of starting this podcast, I reached out to one guy on Facebook who was looking for someone into the paranormal to be on his show, and he basically insulted me for starting this show, saying I'm just gonna scare people by having people tell their experiences on here, and like I ended up blocking him because I'm just like, this guy is insane.
Yeah, no, I mean they only have TV shows on like major networks about that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean the point of this show is literally just to have people tell their experiences so people understand that paranormal is literally the new normal. I mean,
mhm,
it's always been there. We're just seeing it and recognizing it more and more, which whether that's a good thing or
absolutely.
a bad thing, who knows? But it could be a sign of the end of days for all we know. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, there's just some of the people you meet in this field are just yeah, they're not all there. And of course, because yes, if you meet people who think they talk to ghosts on a daily basis and stuff like that, which this guy did claim he did, because he talked to
Yeah.
spirits and they told him who to work with. And I was like, okay, go back to the loony bin you escaped from. But
Yeah, you never know with these people. So
but yeah, and I mean, just from checking out your TikTok page, which you did something I never thought could be done, you got me on TikTok. Because I refused to join TikTok for the longest time because I don't think it's a good thing. Not that I don't think it's a good thing. I just never saw a point for me being on it because I'm not gonna do dance videos. I'm not gonna do any of that type of stuff.
no, I don't have a lot on my TikTok. I have my personal account. Hi. I have my team's account, East Coast Paranormal, and then there's the Get Haunted account. And then actually I have a pet skunk. So
I've seen that.
if you look up Charger the Skunk on TikTok, he's got his own account. He's got like over 5,000 followers.
Yeah,
um
I mean he is adorable. I mean I've seen the videos of him and everything, and he's adorable. Like it makes
yeah.
me want a skunk, but we just got a puppy, and I didn't want that to begin with either. So I, to me, animals just equal more work, and with this animal behind me, I got enough.
Yeah, that's why I just want fur babies. I'm good with the furry ones that I can leave home alone and not get arrested for it. So
Oh, trust me, I wish. Yeah, trust me, we barely ever get nights out because of these two, but
yeah, but they're worth it, right?
oh, totally worth it. I love putting her to bed every night. It's the best part of my day. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, I love that in your one video you use "Homies" by Insane Clown Posse. because
Yeah.
I am a huge Juggalo, and since you haven't heard this show, I'll just tell you straight out. The theme song to this show is "Bring It On" by Insane Clown. Not Bring It On.
That's awesome.
Other side. It's "Take Me to the Other Side."
Okay. Yeah, no, I had a hatchet girl on the back of my neck for a really long, like years and years and years. And then I just recently got it covered up just because I just didn't want to be known as a gang member according to the FBI anymore. But no, I still very much, I'm more of like, I'm not a huge fan of their newer stuff. I'm more, the
Yeah.
only people on Psychopathic Records that were ever consistent was Twisted. So like they still put out good stuff, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They've gone downhill in recent years. I mean, since the last two Joker cards, it's been kind of a joke thing, and every
yeah,
every artist they have is leaving their label. So it's, I mean,
yeah.
Violent J's sick and stuff.
I
So
know.
which it sucks, but they're getting up there in age. I mean, they've been around for 30 something years, which listen,
Mhm.
which we're not gonna stay this long, listeners, because this is not a music show. But if you do want to hear me, if you do want to hear me talk about the Juggalo fandom, I have an upcoming episode of Part of My Fandom where I talk to the host about being a Juggalo for an hour.
Oh, look.
So
Nice.
that'll be out at some point next month. I'm not sure when, but that was a fun show. But yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was sitting in my car at, like in between stores at work, and I heard that. I was like, oh my god, yes, that is perfect.
Yeah.
And yes, I still do have the Hatchet Man in my arm, and I rip it proud. I don't care. The gang
Yeah.
thing is just so stupid. But
I know, it's ridiculous.
I'd be more scared of people who like NWA than people that like Insane Clown Posse. But that's me. I mean,
Yeah.
I love NWA, but still, I'm just saying, like, I don't want to go to Compton. I'm good on that. But. So, why don't you tell us about some paranormal experiences that you've had in your life, either with your team or just personal ones happen to you? Either way.
I unfortunately don't have any like crazy growing up in some haunted house stories or anything like that. Um, it's just always been something that's really interested me. And um, I have not had a ghost jump out and do the jig in front of me, but I've had some certainly interesting things happen to me over the past few years while investigating. I think the holy grail of things that have happened was at Penhurst last year. Me and my team were at Penhurst, and we go to Penhurst a lot. We'll be back there on July 3rd. And then also for World's Largest Ghost Hunt, that's where the headquarters is going to be in September. September 24th, if anyone in your teams want to get involved, it's nationalghosthuntingday.com. That's where you go to sign up your team. Anyone can join. Just find a location, preferably somewhere with Wi-Fi or somewhere that has good reception. Otherwise, it's not going to come out very good. But anyone who's watching, nationalghosthuntingday.com, and definitely check that out. But anyways, so I was in the Rockwell Tunnel with a few of my team members and my friend Eric Vital, who is in Nesper, and his wife now. And we were getting a little bit of equipment hits here and there, this and that, nothing too crazy. And then my team members, Rich and Sarah Lee, came down into the tunnels, and we were down there for like maybe another half hour. And then all of a sudden, my buddy Rich goes, ow. And we're like, now Rich is sitting right in front of me. So I'm looking at him. I mean, it's dark, but I'm looking at him, Yeah. And it's cold out. We have jackets. So he pulls his sleeve up, and he has full on, like right here, top and bottom teeth prints on his arm, like indentations, like a human mouth print. It looked like it was like missing teeth too. It looked messed up. And I know, because like I said, I was sitting right there in front of him, that there's no way in hell he could have done that himself. And he had been down there for at least half hour, 45 minutes. So it's not like he bit himself before he came down there, And actually, my buddy Patrick, who's on my team, he actually works at Penhurst. That's actually where we met him that night. And he was sitting there like, Oh my God. Like actually, like I don't know if you've ever been bit by like a child or a dog or anything, but when you get bit, it's like flesh tone, and then all of a sudden it starts to swell and turn red. And like we're sitting there with the flashlight on his arm and it just starts swelling and turning red. And it was absolutely crazy. That's one of those experiences that we only have pictures. It was 3 a.m. All of our cameras were dead. And mine was, stupidly facing the other way of the like down the hallway anyways. But it was dead. But you know what? I don't care. Like some people were going around saying we faked it, and I don't really care because that was one of the most amazing experiences. So at least me and the people there got to experience that. Um, that was probably my number one top experience. I've had, I've been touched. I've felt stuff like that. I think the most scariest, even though I'm not like one of those, yeah, I'm really hard to impress. Me and my team are very skeptical investigators. It's not that we don't believe, it's just we debunk like everything,
You have to. You have to.
yeah. So I was at the Shanley Hotel, which I frequent often as well. And we were up to like 4 a.m. investigating. My friend's son, my friend Christina, her son was sharing one of the rooms with me, and he was already sleeping. And I went in there. He was sleeping with the lights on. I got changed. I took my makeup off. I turned the lights off, and I'm trying to go to sleep. And I actually had my camera facing the bathroom and I was staying in the Rose room, and that's like one of the that's the only room in the place that has its own bathroom. The rest of it's like kind of like hostel style. But anyways, the time before I had been there was stuff walking around that bathroom all night. You heard footsteps, you heard the door creaking for hours. My friend Megan, it actually woke her up, and she's like, Christina, do you hear that? And I was like, I've been sitting here listening to it for like 45 minutes. Like, yes, I hear that. So I had my camera facing the bathroom this time, and I don't sleep well there at all. So I woke up an hour later. It was like 5 a.m. My camera was dead. It's not unusual. Those batteries don't last too long. And I went back to sleep, and maybe I would think it was just before 6 a.m. I wake up. Now, to this very day, I don't know if I dreamt this. I don't know if this actually happened, which I think bothers me the most about the situation. But I woke up, I was in the position that I was sleeping in, but I heard the bed flex, and you stay at a hotel and like the comforters aren't like soft, they're kind of like
Rigid.
rigid, they crunch. I could hear like the sound of like the crunching of the comforter, and I'm like a side stomach sleeper. I couldn't move. I tried to move. I felt like I was pinned down to the bed, and I went to scream for Anthony, who was sleeping in the room with me on the other bed, and nothing would come out of my mouth. So I had like this like class A like sleep paralysis experience. And then finally I like came to, and I got up, I put my shoes on, I put my hoodie on, I went downstairs to the common area at the Shanley, and I sat there for 3 hours until the rest of my team woke up. It scared the crap out of me. But at the same time, it was like fascinating. That's why we're there, to have these experiences. It makes us a more experienced investigator. So I'm totally glad that it happened. I'm very hesitant to stay there again, although I have investigated there numerous times since, and I plan on going back. We do a lot of Get Haunted events at the Shanley Hotel. It's in Napanoch, New York.
Okay, I was gonna say, because that's the one that you post saying it's in Ulster County, right?
I guess I don't know if it's Ulster County. It's in Napanoch. Is that Ulster County? I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think where Napanoch is, because I grew up in Kingston, New York.
Okay. Where are you now?
I'm in Gardner, Massachusetts now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I grew up in Kingston, New York. I'm trying to think, because I know I've heard of Napanoch, and I feel like it might be part.
It's about an hour and 20 minutes from me in North Jersey. I usually take the thruway to the Woodbury Commons exit, and then I think I stay on that highway for like freaking 45 minutes, and then I
Okay.
guess.
All right. No, that okay then. Yeah, because that's Woodbury Commons. That's by Middletown, I believe.
Yeah, that's before Ulster County.
That's closer to this. Well, it's kind of parallel to Ulster County. It's
Yeah.
I want to say it's part of Sullivan County, but I'm not positive. But because I saw you posted on TikTok that you did a hotel in Ulster County, and I was like, huh, which one? I kind of like.
Mm.
I mean,
Maybe
Kingston.
it is.
I mean, I don't know, but Kingston, New York is full of haunted locations because of everything that happened there during the Revolutionary War,
Yeah.
the War of 1812, and all that fun
Mhm.
stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Waking up with a ghost. I mean, waking up with a ghost laying in bed with you possibly is just in. I mean, I've heard stories that happening before, and it's always just so creepy because it's like I want to call it ghost date rape almost.
I mean, I didn't feel.
Violated.
No, it was just startling, you know? I mean,
Well,
now that I sit back and like it's kind of cool because it's just, I mean, that's the main reason I'm out here doing this is to have my own experiences, you know? Because I never, a lot of people in my family are very sensitive and I'm not. It skipped my generation. I'm not a sensitive, not a psychic. So I've just been out there hardcore looking for my own proof, you know?
yeah, which I mean, of course, I don't blame you for that. I mean, I wish I was sensitive too, but just no. As far as I know, none of my families have been sensitive. It's just we're one of those boring families where no one sees anything. But
Yeah, my dad's but and he's an ex-cop too, so he's seen quite a bit, but yeah, skipped me.
yeah, I can't even say it skipped me. It just
It's just not in the family.
avoids my family tree like a plague, basically. But it's funny because my now wife, because we just got married on Sunday, but
I saw, congratulations.
thank you. But she used to live in a town called Hanson in the Bridgewater Triangle, or like right in the edge of the Bridgewater Triangle, which I'm sure you know what that is, right?
Mm-mm.
Really, it surprises me how many people do not hear about the Bridgewater Triangle.
Nope, haven't heard of it.
Well, I don't know what group it was, but some group did a documentary about it like 10, 15 years ago. And basically, it's just a section of Massachusetts around Bridgewater, Massachusetts, where where basically everything paranormal or cryptid related you could think of
Okay.
has happened in this area. It's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle or the San Borrego Triangle or any of them really. But
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoots, puckwudgies, giant snakes, thunderbirds, spirits, ghosts.
Okay.
Basically, Native Americans got slaughtered there by white men, of course, and they
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna try the Native American tribe name because I'm gonna butcher it if I try. But I feel like I could say it, but I feel like I'm about to destroy it, so I'm not going to. But
It's all good.
basically, they were getting slaughtered, and right before the chief got slaughtered because they retreat to the swamp and they were fall there and slaughtered on the way, basically. And before the chief got slaughtered, he cursed the land so that the white men would never be able to peacefully live on it.
Okay.
Which I don't blame him, but
Those Native American, like supposedly cursed or like burial ground areas, like really kind of freak me out a little.
well, let me tell you, the house my wife lived in before she moved in with me, her grandfather bought the house in 1990 around there, and the people who built it only stayed in the house for like a year or two, and they didn't say why they wanted to sell, but it's pretty obvious now why, because the house was built on an Indian burial ground. It's basically a poltergeist situation where they
Yep. No thanks.
yeah. And I've
I'm
stayed
good.
I've stayed for a week at a time at her house when we were just dating, and I mean, if you're up at 3, 4 in the morning, you get the creepiest feeling just being awake in the house at that point. And I mean, my wife is very sensitive. She's seen a lot of different things, and the reason I bring it up is because she actually has, while she's been laying in bed at night, she'll feel her blanket getting pulled off her, and
Okay.
she'll wake up and it'll be under the bed, like there's something under the bed pulling it under.
That's really creepy.
And she's also woken up because it felt like someone was sitting or pushing down her chest,
Okay.
and she couldn't breathe. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she's seen everything from shadow people to spirits to everything you could imagine in that house. So, I mean,
Hmm.
that house is just, yeah, that house is just. I mean, even being outside at night in that house, it's surrounded by woods, and
Yeah.
this is a forest that goes into where the Bridgewater Triangle is. She lives like right outside the border of it, and those woods, if you're sitting outside in her backyard at night, you feel like there's things watching you. You feel like there's things running. You hear things running around. You have no idea what they are. Doesn't sound like any animal you ever heard before. It's creepy as hell. But I
That's
swear to
kind
God,
of how I felt at the Conjuring house a little bit.
yeah,
The woods there are I don't know. I just feel like someone. I mean, they have sightings of UFOs out there. There's a lot of I mean, some people say there's correlation between UFO activity and paranormal, like spiritual ghosts, whatever. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know much about any of this. Like none of us do. We just go by our own experiences and theories that we have. No one's a pro or an
no,
expert, but from what I hear, a lot of times either it's the land that attracts the UFO activity and the paranormal, the ghosts, or maybe one attracts the other. There's a bunch of theories on that, which I find is really interesting, actually.
yeah, which actually is okay. The Bridgewater Triangle is also infamous with UFOs and aliens, which that's something I forgot to mention. But actually,
Mhm.
everybody should figure that out anyway if it's got everything else. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it
aliens might be the most reasonable thing out there these days now that the government's talking about it.
yeah. I mean, face it, listeners, the government actually admitted there's UFOs before they admitted there's Bigfoot. So,
Hmm.
and I'm pretty sure the government has some big feet, or some Bigfoots locked up somewhere. I'm pretty damn sure of it, but yeah, they have to. I mean, the whole Olympia project out in Washington, there's got to be something out there that they caught. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to catch up on small town monster stuff so I can get to the point where they actually
That's
filmed it.
2023, dude. 2023. All right.
Maybe, you never know.
Natural disaster 2023. Bigfoot.
I wouldn't even call that. I don't even think it would be a
No, no, I
disaster.
know. I'm not talking. You know what I
Oh,
mean.
okay, yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry. Conspiracy
there you go. There you
2023.
go. There you go.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That's a better word for it.
I mean, it's yeah, it is all related. There's been UFOs and Bigfoot cited like either one after the other or in the same area at the same exact time, which leads to 1,000 different theories that we're not going to go down to at this point because we'd be here for hours if we went down every single one of those black holes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that the Conjuring house, I saw on TikTok that you guys went there. Did you guys actually get anything there, or was it? I mean, or
Um, it was actually pretty quiet when we were there. I didn't really get anything crazy. But I have friends like my friend Rob who owns Get Haunted that you used to work for another event company and spent about 11 nights there at like overall, not consecutive, but and he had some absolutely like life-changing crazy shit happen there and happened to him because of the house. If you go on YouTube, Andrea Perrin, she's one of the girls that grew up at the Conjuring house. She has her own YouTube channel, and she actually interviewed Rob maybe like a month or so ago, and it was a 2 hour long. They could have went on for longer, like the crazy things that they talked about with that house. Supposedly it's one of those houses that have to get familiar with you, so we were only there for one night. We really didn't have a lot of activity, but I remember going out in the yard by the wood line and just feeling very uncomfortable. It was just like the house I was fine in. We all fell asleep. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if it maybe was like draining our energy or something, but before midnight, half the guys on the team, I actually have pictures of it, were passed out in one of the upstairs bedrooms. They're like sleeping in beanbag chairs up there. Like they're all just unconscious. I fell asleep in the library at one point. My friend Christina fell asleep in the living room. Throughout the night, we were just all in and in and out of consciousness there for some reason. Maybe it's just because it was like comfy, like there were like clean, comfy things to lay on, and unlike being at an abandoned building where there's nowhere to relax, you know.
Yeah, well, the Conjuring House. I've heard many podcasts like talk about the real story of the Conjuring House,
Yeah.
not the movies.
Oh,
Where
the
they
movie is no, that's maybe like 2% of the movie is
real, but yeah,
real.
yeah. I mean, you can't ever go by the movies unless it's a document. Even if it's a documentary, you can't go by it 100% always. But I mean, that that feeling when like you're outside by the woods. Were you the only one outside, or was like your whole team out back?
No, it was just me because I'm a jerk and I like to wander off by myself places.
I mean, in my mind, that's either one or two things. I mean, either if you're feeling that uncomfortable, it either means that the spirits or demons or whatever it is are watching you from the house when you're out back, because there may be something out there they don't want you to uncover. Maybe there's something hidden back there that keeps them there, or who knows? Maybe the spirits like to roam the woods too. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time I heard of spirits in the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they said they've had tons of UFO sightings out there as well.
Um, uh, yeah. I mean, I just don't. I can't explain why UFOs and ghosts and spirits would be related unless it does go back to the whole
Like
alien.
the property, maybe it's the property that attracts it. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could all come down to some, like, because the area we live in is very UFO popular too in Massachusetts, and people think it's because there's some stone or metal in the ground that they use to fuel their ships.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that they stop in the woods, they siphon it out as best they can, and they go on. I mean, the other night we saw things. 3 nights ago, my wife and me were on the front porch smoking a cigarette, and we see things flying by in the window. I mean, I didn't see them. My wife did. I'm still getting used to saying that, but
It takes a while, I'm sure.
it does, because I've been calling her my girlfriend for 4 years now, and it's just weird. But and we did get married out of the freaking blue. It all happened within like 2 weeks, but we have our reasons. But she's staring out the window and she's trying to tell me, she's like, yeah, there's these things flying by in the sky, and then there's some other ones just kind of sitting there like hovering. And I'm like, no, the government admitted aliens exist, so I don't doubt it. Like,
Yeah.
I've never doubted aliens exist. I've never seen anything, but I'd love to. E.T.
Yeah,
take
I've
me
never
home.
seen. I don't. I live like 10 minutes from New York City, from Manhattan. So when we get meteor showers, I don't see them. Any type of, because the light from the city
Oh, of
just
course.
is.
Yeah.
It's just you can't see we don't. I have to drive like maybe half an hour, 40 minutes away in order to see the stars properly. You know.
Of course, yeah. I mean, because
Yeah.
I've been in New York City plenty of times, and you can't see nothing. You can't see nothing.
No, yeah, I live in like 10 minutes outside in the suburbs, so it's like,
Oof, pricey.
yes, that is why that's why I live with my father again temporarily.
Hey,
That's why I'm back at home.
No hate here. I moved back in with my mother too when I was 25 until I was 33. So yeah, no hate here.
Yeah. Well, me and my ex that I was living with broke up, so I decided to take charger and come back here for a little bit. I live in one of the most expensive counties in New Jersey, so I'm definitely not going to be staying here when I'm done here, you know.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, yeah, we used to drive through those neighborhoods kind of when we were coming back from the city, and it's always like we used to always tell our parents, like, we want to live there, and they're like, yeah, okay, good luck.
Oh
with
no,
that.
my dad pays over $23,000 in property tax a year.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it is.
Yep.
Just to live that close to the city, but
Absolutely crazy. And I hate the city. I haven't been in there in years.
well, you can't now unless you're vaccinated. in New York
I know.
or
I,
Boston. It's ridiculous.
I know, and they're supposedly starting to lay up on that a little bit, but I mean, I worked for CBS Radio for a few years for a few of their radio stations. So I did work in the city, but that was a long time ago, and I don't miss it.
Yeah, I've never been a city person. I wouldn't be able to stand it either. Like
Yeah.
I've always been more of a suburb person, or now I live in the boonies because my girlfriend doesn't like suburbs, but wife doesn't like suburbs, but still getting used to it, folks. But so were there any other really like famous places that you guys have investigated, or
I mean, Penhurst is very well
well,
known. Fort Mifflin.
I was gonna say Penhurst. I feel like it's either a college or a prison. I've heard the name a thousand.
Penhurst was it was a bunch of things throughout its life. It was a state school, but it was also an asylum, a mental asylum.
That's why I heard of it. Yeah.
Yep. So they had, people were just dumped there by their families. And at the time it was like anything from autism to like if you were a dwarf, like anything that you wouldn't get committed for these days, people were just abandoning their family members. One of the crazy things about my story about my friend Rich getting bit there is the patients at Penhurst were notorious for biting. They would, and as punishment, one of the doctors there would yank their teeth out. So yeah, so the fact that Rich got bit in that tunnel was absolutely kind of ironic and crazy, actually. And the fact that the teeth, I'll show you after the show. There you could see like the teeth print. It looks like either it's missing teeth or the teeth aren't in the right spot. It's very weird. But we've done Fort Mifflin, we've done Penhurst, we've done the Conjuring House. We've done plenty of places that have, like White Hill Mansion, that's been on a bunch of shows. Oh my God, I can't even remember how many places I've been to. What else have we done? We've done Booby's Brewery in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. That's not as well known. Oh my God.
Do you guys ever come up to Massachusetts and do like investigations there or whatever?
I'm working, Get Haunted has an event. We're doing a public event July, second week in July, maybe the 9th. Don't quote me if that's the Saturday, then the 9th, at SK Pierce Mansion in Massachusetts. I'm not sure what town that's in offhand, but yeah, we'll be there.
You said the SK Pierce Mansion?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I doubt it's the same one, but there is a mansion in Gardner that is.
That's it, I believe.
It is. Oh my God, you guys are gonna be in my town that day.
Really? I think there's still tickets available if you and your wife want to come.
And problem is, we got no one to watch the monkeys.
No one to watch the spawn.
And if they, and I mean, they would easily come, but then I don't need the little one crying because she's scared.
Yeah,
the older one would probably be loving it because
it is Gardner, Massachusetts.
Yeah,
all the Get Haunted events are for insurance purposes are all 18 and up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I understand that. So, but it's funny because I was just talking to Christopher Susi. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he was on my show last week, and actually, it's slowly becoming one of my most listened to episode because it's. I'm sure you saw it posted, but it's 3 stories of him meeting the devil, supposedly. Which
interesting.
It's oh God, it's worth a listen. Anybody who hasn't listened to it yet, listen to it. It's worth a damn listen. But I was talking to him, like telling him, like, if you ever want to come investigate the mansion in Gardner, let me know. We'll do a cross promotional thing with it, and we'll go do it. But yeah, I may have to buy tickets so I can go do that with you guys because that would be great for my network. But no, absolutely. And the funniest thing about that mansion is they're building a liquor store right across the street called Gardner Spirits.
It's like Bunghole Liquors in Salem, Massachusetts.
Been there. We went to Salem 2-3 years ago before COVID.
I used to go every year since I was a kid with my dad. And then when I was old enough, me and my best friend Megan would go every year. I love Salem. It's beautiful there.
It is, but it's actually funny because like we were getting the guy a tour done by one of the tour groups there that does like the walk around tours, and after the guy gets done and he wasn't even done yet, but we're just walking like from location to location. In between locations, I'm like, do you guys listen to Unobscured podcast with Aaron Mankey? And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's what he's like, we revitalized our whole tour based on the information he had put together. And I'm like, I know I heard all this somewhere before. And I'm like, so I ended up talking to him for a while about it. And it's just like,
Funny.
they said, because no one has ever put together so much research about Salem witch trials in one place before and made it so easily digestible.
Oh yeah. Well, I do a podcast with Dave Childers and Chris Sanders. Chris is from Maine, or lives in Maine, and Dave's in New Hampshire. So those two are always in Salem. But we do a show on Sunday night on the It's Haunted, not Get Haunted, It's Haunted network. But yeah, those guys are always out there. I am hoping I can get back out there. I want to go back to the Salem cheese shop and buy lots of cheese.
Didn't know that existed, but now if I go there, I am gonna have to try
It
that
just
out.
opened
Oh, okay.
a few years ago. Maybe like 4 or 5. I don't know. I recently, maybe a few years ago, discovered it, and it's amazing.
Well, I'm assuming it opened pre-COVID.
I think so.
I mean, because yeah, thank God it's still surviving because a lot of businesses didn't survive COVID. But
I know it's terrible. It looks like most. I mean, at least most of the shops that I always would go and visit every year seem to have survived. So
well, Salem is a very good tourist destination. I'm pretty sure they opened up as soon as they could
yeah.
to try to get people back up into that town because I mean it's always booming there. No matter what day of the week you go there, it's booming. There's always people there. The haunted houses are the haunted houses walkthroughs are always like really fun to do. And my now 8-year-old, but he was 5 or 6 at the time. Actually, no, he'd be 4 at the time because this was before COVID. And he wanted to go through with his grandfather on one of these haunted houses. And we're like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he's like, yes, I can take it. So also he goes through and it's like a less than 10-minute thing to go through one of those.
Yeah, they're not that crazy either.
And he gets right like 5 minutes in, all of a sudden we could hear him from outside behind a closed door. We could hear him screaming and crying because at the end of one, the guy with the chainsaw pops out right at the end. And his grandfather comes out and he's like, he was fine until the guy with the chainsaw popped out. Like,
oh, that warms my heart though, because I grew up ever since I was a little kid going to the haunted houses with my dad. Like as long as I can remember, we were going to Eastern State Penitentiary, we were going to Penhurst, they had a place out in Foxborough and they moved it now, Spooky World. A long time ago it was in Foxborough, but now it's in New Hampshire.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I've been doing that stuff with my dad since I was like really probably inappropriately little. So I'm all about that young children's haunted attraction.
And this is why she's a juggalette, folks. The two always coincide at some point. But yeah, I was the opposite as a kid. I avoided scary stuff like the plague. I used to run to my room after Simpsons ended and the X-Files would come on. As soon as I heard the theme song, I would get scared shitless and run to my room.
Do you remember the Fiji mermaid episode? That was the scariest freaking X-Files episode ever. It's like scarred me for life.
I think I remember it.
I did this creepy little mermaid thing. It was not cool.
Oh, you mean the thing in the sewers that was all white?
I think maybe it had a tail.
Yes, I do remember that because they brought it back in the X-Files comic book a few years ago. They brought it back. They went back to that, and they went back to a lot of the earlier X-Files like episodes and everything, trying to keep the fan base happy, But yeah, I mean, I watched through all the X-Files like 10 years ago just because it's something I always wanted to watch, and I finally got old enough where I'm like, this ain't gonna scare me. I love aliens. This ain't scaring me.
Yeah, no. I'm terrible. I'm so desensitized. I mean, I was like 6. I was 6 watching Hellraiser with my dad. He wonders why I turned out the way I did, and it's like, well, it's your fault,
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, yeah. I mean, my parents wouldn't let me watch South Park for God's sake. So I mean,
me and my dad totally watched South Park together, and Beavis and Butthead.
We did when I got older, but it wasn't until my dad wouldn't watch with me till I was a teenager.
Oh no, my dad watched when I was a child.
See, I hear so many people around
We're-
our age that are like their parents let them do this, their parents let them do that. I'm like, you lucky sons of.
My dad bought me like a Mr. Hanky shirt.
Oh, the childhood I could have had if my parents let me do things. But then again, who would I be now? I don't know. But
Yeah, and then my dad was a cop, so we got him a respect my authority shirt with Cartman on it.
oh my god, I love that. I love that. I love that. Cartman is my spirit animal.
No,
He has been. He has been since I was in middle school. Cartman is my spirit animal, but
Yeah.
and that's a bad thing too. But so anything other paranormal experience wise that you have, or I mean,
I've had little experiences here and there, but nothing too crazy.
you guys caught EVPs at one location, I know, because I saw that on TikTok.
Okay, so yes, Rob, my friend Rob, he has a DR60, a Panasonic DR60, and I understand there's lots of taboo weirdness around the DR60, and they're saying that, oh, it can mimic syllables and this and that and whatever, right? I was not a believer until I started working with Rob and his DR60 almost every weekend. And now it's absolutely insane. We have gotten, and I don't think it's all the DR60. I think it's a lot of Rob. Like I think that's his gift is, being able to catch some crazy EVPs. We were at Mid-Orange Correctional Facility back in April with my team, and he came with us, and he used to be there a lot when he worked for the other company. And so I asked a question. I said, what do you think about my friend Rob? So we play it back and it says, he's a dick. We were at Cashtown a few weekends ago, and it was my mom's birthday. And I said, it's my mom's birthday today. Can you wish my mom a happy birthday? And you hear happy birthday. I asked what the favorite type of alcohol was, and they said whiskey bourbon. And then the peanut butter video that you saw, that was my friend Rob's voice. Did you see the video that you shared?
Yeah.
Where that's my friend Rob's signature move. One of them is, can you repeat the words peanut butter? And you clearly hear peanut butter. At the Shanley this past weekend, though, the spirits at the Shanley are very well known for being quite vulgar. They curse a lot. So we had some very interesting EVPs from the Shanley this past weekend. And then actually at the end of the evening, we had full sentences. Like there's these two known spirits up in the attic, Adam and Joe. Adam was a supposed serial killer, and then Joe is one of the mafia kind of guys. And the two of them were arguing full sentences on this freaking on the EVPs we got. It was kind of crazy. So after working with Rob and his DR60 for so long, I'm a believer now that it must record. And it's not sometimes if you listen back to recordings, you'll hear these really nasty sounding crackles and stuff. And that's the problem, is people think that is that's the EVP, and it's not. You have to listen under all of that. My friend Rob had lost his hearing in the Army and has two very expensive $10,000 hearing aids. So he is so good at listening to when we play it back and picking it out. So we'll sit there and we'll slow it down, this and that, we'll play it back. And you hear these EVPs are breathy human voices. They're not robotic DR60 kind of noises. So definitely I always say my favorite piece of equipment to bring with me is Rob Stackwicks, because we always get some crazy EVPs.
Yeah, I mean, you could even say he's your favorite tool, but
yes,
but
that's what I always say.
it's funny because I just looked up the Shanley Hotel just to see where Napanoch is. It is in Ulster County because it's right before Ellenville, which that's right between. I used to drive that road every weekend going back and forth to college.
Okay.
Because I went to college in Sullivan County, which is right past that.
Yeah, I guess Ulster County must be huge because, well,
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
because I used to go to every year the Headless Horseman haunted hayride.
Yep,
Like I love going there.
that is in Port Ewan, right outside of Kingston.
Well, yeah, it's in Ulster Park, New York.
Ulster Park, Port Ewan, same thing, kind of. I mean,
Is that the same county?
yeah, Ulster Park, and
That's huge. That county is huge then, because
well,
it's like
Ellenville is the very. Actually, no, Ellenville is Dutchess. No, Dutchess is the other side. What the?
I just assumed since it was Ulster Park that it was probably in Ulster County, but
Ulster-
that's probably not an accurate assumption.
Well, yeah, no, Ulster Park is 100% in Ulster County.
Okay.
And yeah, and Napanoch is a hamlet in Ulster County too. So, but they're you were basically on the two different ends of Ulster County. Well,
Okay.
two of the multiple
Okay.
different ends. But it's funny you went to the Headless Horseman because that's everybody I went to high school with, and every year like worked there, went there. Like it was a huge thing in our town.
Yeah.
That's wow. It's funny how much like synchronicity is with I have in common with people I interview.
Yeah.
Like they all know things about where I grew up, and I'm like, I thought no one knew about this area. But wow, you drove up from the city to go, like basically outside the city to go to.
It's like it was like an hour.
Oh, I guess. I mean,
I've always owned sports cars, so I might have been driving a little, but and then I used to go to the Renaissance Fair in Tuxedo every year.
yeah, oh yeah, I've done that too when I was younger. I got my first, I got my first Annoys as a kid, that Renaissance Fair,
Okay.
because I was scared of the hermit crabs. Yeah, I was a chicken when I was a kid. I admit it. But yeah, so, but that's crazy because I've driven by the Shanley Hotel, I think, multiple times when I was going to college and back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of beer involved and all that, so who knows? But
Oh my God. I had the worst. I was driving home that night because I couldn't stay because I was pet sitting. So I had to go home and it was the worst fog. I couldn't see 10 feet in front of my face. I was like, the whole way home, I was like, I'm gonna die. There's gonna be a deer and I'm not able to see it because I can't see.
oh yeah, especially by there, deer can be horrible. But
Yeah, oh yeah. I walked out into the parking lot to go to my car, and there was just one staring at me in the parking lot. And I'm like, go away.
yeah, I forget where exactly I was, but because we grew up in Tilson, New York, which is right between New Paltz and Kingston, and New Paltz borders Napanoch, Ellenville.
Okay.
So the one time I was driving home, and like this deer, I think I was driving through Rosendale or something. This deer literally was keeping pace with my car, and it bumped into the driver's side of my car slightly, and then it just ran back in the woods. Nobody believed me when I got back to the house that deer bumped into my car until one of my brother's friends goes to my driver's door and pulls out a clump of deer hair stuck to the door. And he's like, he's not
Yeah.
lying. He's not lying. I'm like, told you.
I've had poor experiences with deer. I had my old Camaro got hit, but it luckily like hit it and kind of slid off, so it did very little damage. And it's funny you say that because the insurance company was like, I wouldn't really believe this was a deer if it wasn't for the fact that you have fur sticking out of one of your corner panels. But this past October, I was in a loaner car because my Charger was in the shop. And I was driving home from a haunted attraction actually, and I had a deer run into the side of my loaner, which was a Jeep Cherokee, and it literally on the highway jumped over the divider into the side. My airbags went off, my side airbags went off, everything. It totaled the Jeep. I was okay, thank God, besides a little like airbag crash and everything. But anyways, so I have like this fear now and I've never hit a deer, my friend. They hit me. I've always gotten sideswiped. So I'm leaving the Shanley and I was just like, please stay away,
Yeah, I mean, it's insane the amount of deer in New York. I mean, up here in Massachusetts, you see them once in a while, but it's not as common. But there are moose around here too, though, right in Gardner.
Oh,
When
moose.
You
I
guys,
wouldn't want to hit one of those.
no, they'll total your damn car.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you guys drive up here, you'll be seeing moose crossing signs. So yeah, I've never seen one yet, but I've seen videos of them right down the street from my house.
That's crazy.
So, but all right, well, unless there's any more experiences you want to talk about, jump over to creature features, I believe.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Heck, this is actually one of the first times I can do a little bit longer creature feature, which is awesome because I usually don't get the chance. Because either just stuff comes up or it's just never-ending stories, and which I appreciate stories no matter how many people give me. If you give me one, if you give me 10, it's
Yeah.
story's a story. They're always good. Yeah, I mean, I've had Glenn Ralph on this podcast, which I know you know him because
Yes.
I've heard your episode on his show.
I did 2 shows with him, I believe. He
Maybe.
made me I did one with you, but then he wanted to do one about TikTok. And I was like, I don't know a lot about TikTok, my friend, but I'm more than happy to hop on the show with you and talk about it. So,
Yeah, I met Glenn because he put out a post needing a guest, and we end up talking about creepy social media. Like that ended up being the topic you want to talk about, and then like
yeah, he's super nice.
And then at the end of the episode, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm starting my own show, Paranormal: The New Normal. And he's like, I have stories for you. Listen to this episode and this episode and this episode. I'm like,
oh, he's so nice. Yeah.
Oh, my second guest in this show is a man named Jim Marshall, who created a book called Septemics. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically just a way to find out who people are by ranking them on 35 different scales that always existed, and basically Glenn was so fascinated by Jim Marshall and the way he talked that Glenn got Jim Marshall on like a week or two ago. And it was hilarious to hear them talk because Glenn's a lot more demanding of questions than I am. I don't try to push people like to the point, but Glenn likes to have fun.
Yeah.
He's a good guy though, but yeah, all right. Like I said, we'll skip ghosts and spirits since we kind of covered those to some degree. And we can even, maybe we'll get into aliens a little later. I don't know. Sales right aside, but since you're from near Jersey, what do you believe about the Jersey Devil?
Well, I'm in Jersey, but I do live in New Jersey, but I'm in North Jersey. I think most of the New Jersey Devil stuff is usually down in South Jersey and the Pine Barrens and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess there could be something out there, and it is Jersey. We have nuclear power plants and our own oil plants and crazy stuff like that. So genetic mutations could be a thing, you know what I'm saying?
The Jersey Devil has supposedly been around since colonial times.
Yeah, no, I know.
That would predate all those power plants and whatnot.
I know, but you remember you're talking to a very skeptical investigator here.
But I mean,
listen, anything's possible. Anything's possible. It's fun. It's just fun urban legend. We have a lot of them. I always grew up reading the Weird New Jersey magazines and stuff like that. I've never had any encounter with a supposed Jersey Devil, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Jersey Devil goes, it's one of those ones that's harder for me to say I believe in it. But, well, I would say that. But I just recently heard a call into Monsters Among Us podcast a couple months ago, or maybe even a little longer back, but where someone actually reported seeing it. Which, if there's still reports of people seeing it in the Pine Barrens, then, I mean, I have to think, because, I mean, the whole story about it being a woman's 13th child, and that's why it came out looking like it did. Like, I don't know if I believe that's part of the story, but
3 letters, LSD. No.
Yeah, well,
who reported that?
Well, I mean, they.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Listen, it's cool. It could be very much a thing. But I don't know. Urban legends are like religion, Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, speaking of religion, I mean, the Jersey Devil, what if it's a demon? What if that's why it's been around for 400 years? Because demons can't die, supposedly.
That's another word that I don't like, demon.
Or underworld creature, if you don't want to put it as a demon.
No. It's just, you go to so many places and they're like, oh, there's a demon here and this and that. And I'm just like, I have friends in Nesper, which is New England Society for Psychic Research. Ed and Lorraine Warren's group. Their son Tony Spera runs it now, since their son-in-law Tony runs it now, since they passed away. But my friend Eric is in there, and I've become pretty friendly with some of them. And they deal with exorcisms all the time and this and that. I am not a religious person, so it's very hard for
Me either, but
me to grasp my hand on it. But so many things that are people think are demons are just like pissed off spirits. Like I don't think there 9 times out of 10, I don't think something is actually a demon. I think those cases are fewer and far between. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I think they're overused to explain things.
well, I mean, the Catholic Church has to make money somehow, but that's the way I see it. But but I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't like to call them angels and demons either. I prefer either heavenly creatures or underworld creatures, because the fact that every society since the beginning of time has had some name for these creatures makes me think they have to exist to some degree. They have to. There's got to as listeners of the show know, I'm agnostic, which I believe there's got to be something out there. I don't know what it is. I don't want to give any religion power by saying I believe in them, but
yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat there.
I mean, I never would say I'm an atheist, because there's got to be more to this world than we know exists. And you can't be in the paranormal field if you don't believe that, and that's my personal opinion. But
yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I truly do believe in Greek and gods and Norse gods. I believe they existed, or they may still exist. The world may be like American gods, and they're just living on Earth now, trying to keep themselves hidden. So if you're in a factory someday, you may have Thor working next to you and not even know
it. I wouldn't mind that, as long as he looks like the one from the movie, and I'm cool with that.
Hey, if he's as funny as Chris Hemsworth does in the movies, then I'd love to meet him too. But and I wouldn't mind him as a personal coach. But all right. Well, since we went on that one, let's jump to hell, we're in New Jersey. Let's talk Bigfoot.
Okay.
Or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them.
Okay. I've heard some really interesting theories. I listen, I don't know. Like, I'm terrible guest. I don't know anything. All we can talk about is theories here, right? But
exactly. I mean, we're not going to be spouting facts, because if you knew facts about Bigfoot, I wouldn't be talking to you. Even you'd be probably rich, right? Probably rich or in a government black site getting questioned.
or in a loony bin, one or the other. I mean, there's like rumors of Bigfoot possibly being some sort of interdimensional being as well. And that's why he's so elusive, because it's in and out of our dimension. It's another thing that they've associated UFO activity with as well, which is, I don't know, they like kind of banning all that stuff together in like one category for some reason. I mean, it's possible.
Well, when it comes to Bigfoot, yes, the alien Bigfoot tie-in theory, I do think that might hold some weight, because I've heard theories before, and I did talk to Glenn about this actually, but I've heard theories before that Earth may be a prison planet for aliens, and they may have some council of different species of aliens, and anybody they determine is a prisoner, or
they send here
because
I haven't heard that one yet.
Well, it would make sense, because then Bigfoot, Mothman, Jersey Devil, maybe all these things could be
Mothman legend's pretty cool. I like that one. That's whether it's like real or not. It's a good story.
Mothman goes into, and Mothman has actually been seen more than just in Chicago.
Yeah. There's disasters all around the world.
Exactly. Which, I mean, that's another thing. Is Mothman an heavenly creature or an underworld creature? Is he bringing doom, or is he
warning it?
Exactly. See, you can read my mind. You know where I'm going with these freaking monologues, but but I mean, Bigfoot. Going back to Bigfoot for a second. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, the fact that they found Nest in the Olympia project in Washington that are supposed Bigfoot nest, and there's multiples of them. And I truly believe Bigfoot does exist, and maybe it is gigantic kiss, the primitive species that we thought humans killed out.
Yeah.
Maybe they survived and they got better at hiding because they knew if they came out, humans would kill them, or Homo sapiens would kill them back then.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, it's very possible. And I mean, I know a lot of people that are super into going squatching and stuff like that, and they seem pretty damn convinced. So,
I am still trying to find people for the show who have seen Bigfoot and have experiences. It's all what's her name? Eleanor Wagner is supposed to hook me up with a couple of them that she knows that have had Bigfoot experiences. I gotta actually reach out to her again and see if she can hook me up with them. But because I mean, it's hard to find people that are willing to talk about it when they. I mean, yes, they're willing to anonymously call in to Monsters Among Us and leave a voicemail, but like,
yeah,
but they don't want to be interviewed about it because they don't want to seem like they belong in a loony bin or something like that.
yeah.
Which I would never. I mean, I don't know. Bigfoot has to exist. It has to. I mean, there's been so many sightings in this world, all over the world. I mean, the Yowies in Australia, I hate this word. Yetis. Actually, I like that word. Yetis in Tibet. I hate I hate abominable snowman. I hate that word because it makes everybody think of freaking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But I mean, they've been seen in Russia too, and it's just insane. Like it's insane. Like they've been seen everywhere. And why don't we? All right. Well, I can go down Bigfoot's black holes all day. I was gonna say that a different way, but it sounded very dirty. But what do you think about? Let's go with. Actually, I don't think I ever hit this one in the show. Let's go with Thunderbirds. I'm sure you've heard. I'm sure you've heard the fear, like the myths of Thunderbirds, right?
I mean, I've heard of like phoenixes and stuff, but I don't necessarily think I've heard of Thunderbirds.
Well, Thunderbirds are a Native American legend to begin with. They've been around. The stories of if you go out west in America, there's canyons where there's huge paintings of Thunderbirds on the canyons.
Okay, yeah.
And basically, in Native American legend, they were the birds that you had to appease them and give them livestock and or something to eat or human sacrifices.
Okay.
And they would make huge storms come and destroy your land and destroy your crops and everything else. But in more recent years, people tend to believe they might be, and I say this with the utmost seriousness, pterodactyls left over from a previous age.
Okay.
That somehow found a way to survive, whether it's a Land of the Lost type deal, Savage Land type deal, if you want to go Marvel Comics, but like somehow they found a way to survive out west in the deserts of Arizona, New Mexico, and all that. And there actually have been reports and stories of these birds, giant birds that look like pterodactyls, picking up small children out of the front yard. And luckily the kid got dropped in the one that I know of most, but there's been other reports of them taking the kids and the kids are never seen again. So, I mean,
that's interesting. I mean, I wonder how small of the kids are we talking about? Because there's plenty of birds of prey that would snatch your dog. So,
I mean, a dog's one thing, but I believe this in the story I'm thinking of, which if I looked it up, I don't even know if I could find it, but but I believe the kid had to be 9, 10.
Okay, that's large.
Yeah, it wasn't no baby or anything like that. It wasn't no toddler. It was a kid who was allowed to play outside. I think this was back in the 70s or 80s, but it was a kid who was allowed to play outside without being supervised like fully.
Okay.
And the mother happened to look out the window right at the time when she saw this huge thing flap down and grab her kid.
Yeah, that's new to me.
I love stumping my guests for new things they never heard of.
Yeah. You know what's really cool? I don't know the name of it, but I've seen it on like ton of those like paranormal caught on camera and those type of shows. There's like this weird creature and it's like all legs. It's like this it's all legs and they walk like this and it's like
the Fresno The Fresno Walkers.
I think so. Yeah, and they're just like this tiny little upper body and these white creatures that just kind of go like, yeah, those things are creepy as shit.
Well, okay, well, there's the Fresno Walkers, which they typically are the bottom half of a body, and that's it. Like it's just legs. There's no like.
It's mostly, but there were little oh my god, I have to look it up. I've seen them on so many of those shows, so many videos, and it's so bizarre looking.
Well, there's also another creature that's actually on my list that's kind of similar to that. They're called rakes,
Okay.
or pale crawlers.
Okay, I think I've heard of them.
And there's a famous YouTube video out there. I can't think of the name of the guy, but he recorded one in his backyard through a screen, of course, so you can't see anything clearly. And it's dark as hell out, so you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But you do see this pale white figure, human size or bigger, walking around and stumbling around the backyard of this house. And my wife has used to see these outside her house in Hanson too, like in her backyard. A couple times she tried videotaping it, but it never came through clear, of course, because of the screen. But it was, she tried telling me like it was walking around and like it was just stumbling around. And the common belief, because there's been more and more of these sightings at least recently, and the common belief is, what if they live underground in the cave systems that are all throughout America, and that's why they're pale, and that's why they stumble around at night, because they can't really see anything.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they come from, and maybe that's just their existence. But the biggest thing is that a bunch of paranormal educated people have said that, what if this is what's happening with like the missing 411, all the hunters disappearing in the woods and stuff? What if these creatures are taking them, and whether they eat them or whatever their plans are for them?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's another race that lives underneath the earth, like
maybe
like mole men or something like that, like almost. But
yeah,
I mean, so yeah, I mean, the Fresno crawlers, I mean, they're one of those things that like I've heard one or two stories about, and then that's it. That's
no,
all.
I know, but the few videos that you see, they're just so weird looking, and they move so strangely. It's so weird.
It's actually funny because I actually have a Fresno crawlers pennant that I got from Cryptic Crate. I have a lot of pens for different creatures from Cryptic Crate. Which this Cryptic Crate, not a sponsor, but you could be. But because I get it monthly, it's the only subscription box I've kept after I bought my house, because I couldn't afford any of the other ones. But it's an amazing box, actually. I get so many good paranormal books in it that I don't have time to read them ever, but I have them all, and someday if I retire, I'll read them all. All right. We could do a couple more, unless you're short on time and you have to bounce or something.
No, I got till about 8:30.
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna combine these two together because they're kind of related.
Okay.
What do you think of mer people / water cryptids such as Loch Ness, Champ, Ogopogo? Take your pick.
I almost want to say that the ocean cryptids are almost a little more feasible than land dwelling cryptids, because those oceans are freaking deep. I mean, I know like some of them are in like lakes and ponds and stuff like that, so that's a little less believable, but I mean, these ocean ones, I mean, there's shit down there that we don't even know exists.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what a lot of people actually say when I bring this up, is because we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the bottom of the ocean. That just tells you right there that maybe these different sea monsters are just something that they live and breed so deep down we can't find them, and we only see them when they happen to come up.
Yeah.
Maybe they come up to breed, or maybe they come up when they get old and they're on their way to dying. Maybe that's when they come up to the surface. I mean,
and that whole dinosaur thing too, like survival, like dinosaurs that have survived concept really comes in there as well.
You took the words out of my freaking mouth. Because on my list, and I talk about this creature every episode because I love it, Mokele Mbembe, which Macaulay Mbembe, which I always think I butcher that, is supposed brontosaurus or something similar that
Mm-hmm.
lives in Africa in a river or pond.
Mm-hmm.
Which you brought up dinosaurs still existing. What do you think about them?
Well, I mean, there's sharks out there that are almost that old that they found alive. You know what I'm saying? Like they found freaking sharks that are hundreds of years old. So why the hell not? You know? I've actually never heard of whatever you just said because I can't pronounce it either. But
I mean, it's Mokele Mbembe. Like I actually just messaged you the name bit, so if you want to look into it, be my guest, be my guest sometime. Because as Glenn said, I sent him home with a lot of homework. But
Nicole, yeah, no. Yeah,
but
your guess is as good as mine there.
but yeah, I mean, because I tell this story all the time in this podcast. But when I was a kid in elementary school, the one book I always took out of the library because I took a lot. I was a reader always. The one book I always took out of the library was the one cryptid book in the library full of Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and there's always a section at the end of it. What if dinosaurs still survive? And this is in the 90s, so even back then it was like a topic people brought up.
Yeah, I mean the bird, especially birds, like even like modern day birds, there's no way they didn't freaking come from dinosaurs. Like, I mean,
Oh,
there's even proof that like a lot of the dinosaurs had feathers, you know. So
trust me, my wife has chickens. She got them a year. She started raising them again. The best word I can think of for it.
yeah.
A few years after we started dating, and because she had them when she was younger too. But and the way they walk around the yard, if you just watch them, it's like watching Jurassic Park. Like when she used to open up the door to their house because it was a big chicken coop, and there was 20 at one point she had 30 or 40 of them,
Mhm.
and like she would open up the door and they would all run out. It looked like a herd of raptors coming at you almost. And like it was actually cute because the kids used to like brace themselves when she did it, and like they would run ahead of it to make it look like they're being chased by the chickens. It's cute as hell. Like I wish I took videos of it, but I never freaking got the chance because it happened so fast. But they do look like dinosaurs running. If you, I mean, based on Jurassic Park, which
Hmm.
it's the only real thing we can base anything on because it's the only
Yeah.
time we've really seen dinosaurs like that.
Yeah.
But I truly believe in the deepest jungles, the Amazon, the Asian jungles. I can never think of the name of.
Hmm.
But I mean, even in the African jungle, the Kenyan jungles, I mean, maybe there's parts we don't know where there is because I mean, they've told stories of thunder lizards. I mean, in Africa, and to this day, people try to say, "Oh, that's a Komodo dragon," or "That's this," but no, it's not.
Yeah.
We knew what a Komodo dragon is since those stories have still come out.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you hear of creatures being extinct and then so many years later they're like, or like an endangered species went extinct, right? And then they're like, oh, there was a sighting of a pair, you know, it's like,
uh,
not surprise,
well,
not extinct.
it's like Alien Big Cats, which is a big Monsters Among Us thing because it's Derek Hayes' favorite cryptid, basically. But it's not even a cryptid anymore because like these Black Panthers and these jaguars that get seen in America now, the government has come out in some states and said, yeah, we released them back. We released these back into the wild because they used to live in this area, and we're trying to repopulate them to control the deer population
Okay.
and other prey populations that are getting too big. I mean, me and my father were driving through New Paltz, New York when I was 8, 9, 10. There was a little scuba diving shop that he used to go to get his license scuba dive there, and
Hmm.
we were leaving it the one time, and you had to go through like a woods on either side on this road to get out of it because it's on the back roads. And we saw something walking into the woods from one side of the road to the other, and all you can really see is the tail. But my dad got home, he read out the encyclopedia, and he went to lion, and the tail matched a lion tail, like a mountain lion tail. And he's like, Jeremy, that's what we saw. And I'm like, I see the similarities, yeah. And he
I mean,
ended up,
there's mountain lions in North America. I mean, they're around.
but when I was a kid in the 90s, they supposedly went extinct or were very endangered and very impossible to see. Like they lived in the highest of mountains when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
according to what.
Yeah.
And my dad even said, like, he called the environmental department and he said, like, this is what I think I saw in New Paltz. And
And they were like, nah.
no, they actually said, they're like,
There's
well,
been sightings.
there's been sightings, but we can't officially confirm we're doing anything or we can't deny we're doing anything. Like,
Okay.
because this is back before they could say it.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 10, 15 years, New York and other states all around the United States have started saying, yeah, we released them back in the wild. Sorry about your dogs and cats that got killed in the backyard, but we've been releasing them.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like a pretty fucked up thing to do.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, it is necessary for ecosystems. I 100% get that.
Yeah.
But all right, well, since it's 5 of 8:30, so we'll start wrapping this up. I mean, we went through more creatures than most I usually get to do on creature features, so which I love that because I am actually considering if I do a second show each week, I'm considering it being a only creature feature segment with just different guests who that way people who don't have experiences with paranormal but are interested in it can still come on and talk about their beliefs. So I don't know. I need my listeners to get up a little more though. So share, people. Share it with your friends.
Definitely. Make sure you send me the link when you're all done with it.
Well, you're in the Paranormal the Normal Facebook group, which is where people can find any links for the show. And I do post it every week in that show first thing. So
good.
Along with previews of who's gonna be on the next week, as you've seen.
Yes.
I like to help network everybody, but why don't you tell people where they can find your company's stuff and whatnot?
You can go onto my team's Facebook group page, East Coast Paranormal. Also, you'll find me on the Get Haunted Network group page as well. You can see me do either Sunday nights and every once in a while, Chris will do a pop-up show on the It's Haunted Network. That's where my podcast is that I do with the two of them, Chris Sanders and Dave Childers. If you go on to Instagram, _ East Coast Paranormal _ and my personal account is at WIKIDCHIK at Wicked Chick. I do have a TikTok also. Make sure you follow my skunk, Charger the Skunk, on TikTok because you will die of cuteness. And yeah, make sure you stay tuned. We have lots of awesome events coming up with Get Haunted. Grab some tickets, come hang out. I guarantee it'll be unlike any other public investigation you've ever done. Don't tell my team, but I really like doing the Get Haunted events. It's like being with my team, it's definitely a unique experience. It's not like they just throw you to the wolves. Most of these public events, we cater to all types of investigators, newbies, people have never done it before, and even a lot of the people are very seasoned investigators that come with us. And it's great, getting a chance to investigate with everyone, meet everyone, learn different techniques. We're constantly learning from our guests as well. So
yes, I may have to buy a ticket for the Gardner one coming up in July, and I may see you there. That'd be awesome.
Let me know. That'd be really cool.
Definitely might have to video it and put it on my page because
go ahead.
Definitely be awesome. Well, as my fans know, but once again, I am at Juggalo Bastard on Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok, thanks to Christina. Because it was the only way I could watch her videos. So, which that's fine. I gotta get out there on social media eventually anyway. Gotta get with the current trends. I have no listeners under 18 for this show apparently, so I gotta start appealing.
It took me a while.
I gotta start appealing to the younglings, but
yep.
And try not to slaughter them at the same time. Star Wars reference, but. And as you all know, you can catch me in my other show as well, Bracket Bastards, a funny pop culture tournament show, which me and my friends do. It's hilarious. And I do have 2 new shows in the works, but I cannot reveal any of that yet. But by the time yes, I can reveal one because by the time this episode drops, it'll be out already. My newest show, Maniacal Music Musings, with me and fellow bastard Chancey Grife, challenging each other to listen to a new different CD every week and give our opinions on it and pick our top 5 songs off it. It's going to be interesting. We are 2 strange individuals, but and please feel free to join the Paranormal the New Normal Facebook group. where you will see everything there is to know about this show, as well as anything else I find about paranormal world, such as a four-legged creature that has been seen on Mars. Which I don't know how much I believe that one, but it's possible. I could see it being possible. Mars,
Maybe.
Mars used to have life. Why couldn't something still exist?
Well,
But thank you, Christina, for joining us.
thank you for having me.
Once again, that's Christina Westervelt, everybody. And maybe we'll have her on again someday with her favorite tool, who I just lost the name of.
My favorite piece of equipment, Rob, and yes.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll get both of you on. Why not?
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
if I do go to the Gardner thing, maybe I'll do a special episode.
Yeah,
But
that'd be cool.
we'll see. Listeners, please tune in again next week. As you know, the show drops every Saturday. Have a good week.